Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Michal, or Michael, and I'm here with Alex, head of an analytical unit of our CSIRT unit. I work as a lawyer, and so we would like to step into a small presentation of our CSIRT unit and our services in light of NIS2 and what NIS2 brings to all of CSIRT units. And yeah, start with a small introduction. Our CSIRT unit in Slovakia, it's based on two locations, in a capital city in Bratislava and also in the second largest city in Košice. We are part of the CSIRT network. There are basically in Slovakia 3 CSIRT units, national, the sectoral government unit, that's what we are, CSIRT.SK, and also one that's under the military. Our constituency is basically the biggest one. We have almost or more than 8,000 of entities in our constituency, which is coming from the ministries and central authorities throughout the municipalities, from the smallest one to the big cities, and also the chambers, like the chambers for certain professions, as a legal profession, medical profession, etc., and also a lot of entities that are established by those entities like municipalities and ministries. So a lot of constituency. We are sectoral unit, and what we see as opportunity was the NIS2. It was quite fascinating to see how the NIS2 governs or tries to broaden the scope of the services of CSIRT units. The paradigm was shifted when you compare NIS1, so something that came up in 2016, and compare it to NIS2 that was brought to the light on 2022. There is a significant change in how the European legislation looks at the services of the CSIRT units, because NIS1 look at the CSIRT units from the reactive point of view. So look at the CSIRT units as those who handle incidents. But the NIS2 look at the CSIRT units as those who also cover proactive or preventive services. From those preventive services, we would like to continue with 2 main topics, and that would be the proactive scanning of networks, and of course vulnerability disclosure, because those are 2 main channels that we use in vulnerability assessment, and also the CTI and all the stuff, technical stuff that Alex will guide you through in the next few minutes. The NIS2 came also with the concept of broader constituency. So we, as all other CSIRT units, are dealing with the broader scope of the entities in our constituency. So even those activities as a proactive scanning, vulnerability disclosure will have an impact on our human, technical, and organizational sources. What types of proactive scanning are in NIS2? It was quite fascinating also to see that the NIS2 is dividing the scanning into the 2 main categories. First of all, it enables proactive scanning of the private networks, but of course it is based on the request of the entity that is covered or that is aimed at in the private scanning. But most importantly, it enables the scanning of public accessible networks on own initiative of CSIRT when and based on the condition that this kind of scanning is non-intrusive. Non-intrusive public scanning is something that is not very much defined in the NIS2 nor in our local national legislation. However, we were a little bit one of those lucky states that already made it and transposed NIS2. as far as you know, maybe you're not familiar with the NIS2 transposition, but about half of the European Union member states are still not or struggling with the transposition of the NIS2, and even the fact that in October 2024 was the deadline to transpose the legislation. But we were one of those lucky that they came up with legislation at the beginning of this year. So what does it mean for us is that the Slovak legislation nowadays understands and confirms that for all CSIRT units, to power to make such a non-intrusive public scanning of the constituency, also establishes a national CSIRT as a CVD intermediary. So it is the national one, but we also will be dealing as a sectorial unit also with this kind of intermediary activity. We think that it could be very beneficiary for our constituency. We are waiting for national CVD policy to come to guide also our constituency on how to deal and develop the CVD policy. One of our advantages as a sectorial unit is that we have a special, or let's say special legislation that covers also our special powers. One of those powers is also to look at our constituency and look at the new or other obligation of the constituency. One of those obligations is to have the CVD policy published on the website, and as far as it concerns the scanning, there are also a strict obligation to perform the scanning of the networks of the constituent in a certain prescribed period. That is perfectly combining with the powers of the CSIRT unit to perform the scanning of the networks and information systems. One of those special powers of CSIRT unit is also to get the system information, the system assets of the constituents, and that will help us and helps us with synthesizing the information from the vulnerability scanning. But back to the point of scanning, one legal and technical thing pop up with the NIS2 and with the power to scan the public networks. What does it mean, the non-intrusive scanning? Because that's the hard law condition for performing the public accessible networks. The non-intrusion is not legally defined. Only thing that you can find in the NIS2 is that such scanning should not have any impact, negative impact on the provided service of the entity. So we were deciding and have an internal discussion on how to legally and also technically look at what the non-intrusiveness of the scanning means. So we came up with the idea to divide the services into certain parts, because when we are dealing with the intrusiveness and non-intrusiveness, it is also the question of realism of the results, and also the question with the battle of false positives from what that you gave from the testing, from the scanning. So we came up with the idea to divide the scanning into several parts based on the approach of how we deal with the scanning in the context of vulnerability scanning. And we see that the intrusiveness is basically based on the active communication with the scanned service and information system when it starts with POC using the payloads in active communication with the service. Now I will handle the microphone to Alex that will continue with the service.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope the mic is good and you are all hearing me well. And we can continue with the more technical part, and it's about we will introduce the 3 basic pillars that we have built in the terms of proactive services from scratch from 2021 till now, and you see where we are now and where we were in 2021. If we look at the topic from vulnerability assessment to cyber threat intelligence to vulnerability research and discovery, we have 3 pillars of cybersecurity. 3 primary services which have brands, and we communicated them to our constituency, which is public sector in Slovakia. And those are Achilles system for semi-automated vulnerability assessment, the threat intelligence service, which primarily serves as a sharing database for the indicators of compromise and also of early warnings. It's called Afrodita. And also there is the offensive security tool, which is like vulnerability assessment or testing in depth, and it's called Achilles. We will talk about those securities, but you need to know the principle, know your customer. That means that we need to have the supporting legislation. That means we have to extract, or our clients have to give us the information about their assets and the criticality. And we have, luckily, we have supporting legislation for it, so we have governmental cybersecurity information system. And in these systems, the constituency or our clients, they log in, they have access there, they have different contact information for different roles, email and phone number, and then they have assets which are very important for us, especially for vulnerability assessment and for early warning. Because based on those assets, we know that we need to protect certain assets, we are aware of the technology that they have, and we can make more targeted vulnerability assessment, and that's what the whole presentation would be about. So we have also services, because we do not expect or cannot expect from our clients that to update these databases like on the daily basis, which would be nice, but you cannot expect this from each client, so we need also a service detection, which is supported by 2 main plugins, but plugin detection from our vulnerability assessment scanner, we use primarily Nessus, and then from the software use, for example, from the web domains, we can extract the probable technologies using Vapalizer. We will show it later on. What about the first system, or the basic pillars, which was at the beginning and at the birth of the services? It was Achilles system, and it still is Achilles system, which is the system for vulnerability assessment, both intrusive and non-intrusive, in our whole constituency, which means public sector in Slovakia. There are, from the governmental cybersecurity information system, we have the database about the assets, and those assets that are available from the internet are scanned, and then the results are on the monthly basis are distributed to the clients. What are scanned? That means that we look for the known CVs and also for configuration weaknesses. Also, when you work with Nessus, that it depends on the plugins that it has. But if you see it, you see that you depend on one vendor, you depend on the plugins that are there, and you depend on the detection of the third party, and that means you can sometimes fail to notify the client about the vulnerability or about the threat that is incoming. So it's not enough, and we will move to another stuff. We also have the module which is called Domino, Domain Availability Monitor, and this module has all the web services which are HTTP and HTTPS websites which are in our constituency. We monitor them and can detect the downtime. And if it's down for more than 30 minutes, you can change the interval. So we notify them. Usually it can be the server is only down because of the electricity outbreak, blackout, or it can be down because it's targeted by distributed DDoS service. All those data are then saved to our database for later evaluation. If you look at the architecture of the Achilles system, at the beginning we have the primary database, which is filled by our clients, which is governmental cybersecurity informational system. Then those assets are going to the scanners. We primarily use Nessus. That is also OpenWASP, but we are currently in the stage of knowing where to use it, how to implement it correctly with the Nessus, and etc., etc. It's the whole science. If you have worked with multiple vulnerability assessment scanners, you know that it's tough stuff. And then the raw vulnerabilities come. It was when we were at the beginning in the 2021, we had a manual validation of all critical vulnerabilities because we have up to 100 clients, up to 300 IP addresses for scanning, so it was possible. Today, and you would see the numbers. It's not possible to do that manually because I would have like the vulture unit, CSIRT unit would only do the validation of the critical vulnerabilities because it's not possible to do it by hand. So we do it only on demand. And there I have another like XDR, the Trend Vision one product. And, but it's not about the Trend Micro, it's about that on the agent base. If you have the service from us, then you can have the validated from another tool. For example, agent-based tool that you have the vulnerability there. And it's better to have like 2 or 3 sources that confirm the same vulnerability exists because you know that Nessus or other vulnerability scanning tools are detecting vulnerabilities based on version or headers. Then the vulnerabilities are processed, the report is generated in PDF, CSV or HTML format, depending on what are the client needs. PDF is usually, but some of the clients are using the reports for their own processing and statistics, so they require us to send them a CSV or HTML format for better processing. And then, based on the information and feedback from the customers, we may take actions or they can add more IP addresses. I'm just speed a little bit up, so not to bore you. So in the communicating the findings, we have the report of the known vulnerabilities in the infrastructure. We also have the database of the top 10 worst sinners. We call them like Achilles top 10 as like the joke for OWASP top 10. And in this, we have the different clients and the number of critical vulnerabilities. Each month, we tell them that you have critical vulnerabilities, you have to fix it, it's not getting better, you have to explain why. Otherwise, there's audit or something like that. It was at the beginning, there was no, don't do it, that's nobody will answer. Today, it's like getting better after a year of the service. So basically, we alert them if they have critical vulnerabilities, and we want explanation why they do not have them. So basically, you are teaching them like how should they communicate with you. We also alerted them about actively exploited vulnerabilities, which is part of the another service, cyber threat intelligence. And also, they have the recommendation, but that's basically the similar thing that is given from the Nessus. And I would like to show you the Achilles 2.0 version, like I would just talk about the 3 main functions, the vulnerabilities, domain availability, and data breaches, which are the part of the reports of the new version, which is currently in user acceptance testing. And as you see, we have like 332 organizations scanning and more than 32,000 IP addresses. And in the vulnerabilities module, we have faced the false positives. We have now option to save the false positives or the information, so you do not report them on another run, on another month. And there is like, on the monthly basis, we do the testing and the reporting. It can be done by on demand or when there are campaigns, but we do it on the monthly basis. For the Domino module, we can see like the technologies identified they are usually from the Wapalizer or Nessus plugins. So we can see that in web domains, we have a fewer web domains than original IP addresses or assets. There you can see like example that we can say that, for example, in that, I think it's Apache, the 31 domains in web services have Apache, others that have Nginx, and etc., etc. So we can have targeted alerts and early warnings based on this. And the newest part is the Achilles breaches, which is basically now from have I been found, but we are looking for the extension and other databases, for example, Dehashed, where we include in the Achilles monthly report also the data breaches of the company, which we would like to make call to action for them. So the benefits of Achilles system are we have over 330 organizations scanning, over 32,000 IP addresses, a lot of reports, and the situation is getting actually better. It's not because like the number is decreasing, but they are communicating more, our clients, which was like not very common at the beginning in 2021. Currently they are listening on the Achilles report. So you have the principle know your customer, and they communicate, it's patched, thank you very much, or it's not patched, we are looking for the public affairs to like confirm it and etc., etc. So they have some processing problems with it. And this is not the end, because we have another services, and with the threat-driven assessment, we have a cyber threat intelligence service which is called Afrodita. And this service basically consists of 2 things, the MISP architecture and also the daily monitoring of the threats. And based on the daily monitoring of the threats and the history, which is in the Achilles, we can make like early warnings or the targeted warnings for the audience. So if you look at the example workflow, threat intel team identifies actively exploited vulnerability. From the Achilles scan, we know which client has this, which client uses the technology, and then we can issue a warning. Here you can see, like, just very briefly, the infrastructure of Aphrodite, when we have 3 different MISPs. Internal MISP, correlation MISP, which is for the Security Operations Center, governmental, which is also provided as a service, but we will not talk about it like more, you can ask later on. And Aphrodite, which is also the name of the MISP that is to the clients, and it sends data. All of the data are shared in a governmental SOC, which is for the government security and for the governmental network. And that is a very good thing, because when there's a threat, the GovNet is automatically protected. Benefits of Afrodita is also we get very nice threat intelligence reports. The girls and boys of the team are working hard to make them also fancy. But what is important, you have the recommendation based on the history of what you've been through like in an organization. So it's basically a karma meter. And that's it for Aphrodite service. And one thing that actually was like really beneficial for it was when there was the attempted assassination of our prime minister. After that, there was a lot of distributed denial of service. It was attributed to Russia, according to social media, because they told that it's very important to do it now. But none of them were successful, because we have this CTI service, Aphrodite, we have daily monitoring, we have a Telegram monitoring where we have checked that they are planning that, then we have made an early warning for the all of the organization. The attempt of the distributed denial of service came, but had no effect, because they have been prepared for it. So that's basically the goal, because we needed to know whom to notify and what is going to happen. And it's due to Achilles system, Aphrodite, and the third pillar is Aries service, which is in-depth testing. It's basically the penetration testing on demand, and also it is benchmark auditing to verify if the hardening is compliant, and it's intrusive, so it requires an agreement. And we also make a vulnerability research and discovery on the open source software, but it's based on what we scan, if we do a penetration test, we know that there's a library, then we make an open source check for that library because it's used in a public sector, and etc., etc. So, but with usually like the penetration testing, sys benchmarking, and red teaming, and vulnerability discovery and research. Here is the vulnerability from our team, so the 2 vulnerabilities actually, just to check it out. So, just to sum up, we have some future plans and active development. Of course, that vulnerability assessment is not enough. Why? Because if you know monthly about the vulnerabilities, what about there are vulnerabilities within those 2-month period? So, you would like to move towards vulnerability management and do it more like often. So, increase scanning frequency at least each 2 weeks. Increase the number of scanned entities, because not all of our constituencies within an Achilles system. Create a web portal so the vulnerabilities could be accessed by the clients, because now you only have the reports, and you do not want the reports. You want to know continuously which vulnerabilities do you have. So it means you need a web access tool. Then we would like to publish, because it's a pity Achilles version 1.0 is not open source, so we plan 2.0 version to be open source. So after the development is confirmed, like at the beginning of 2026, we would like to publish it. So for all of you to use it, that's why there's this presentation. And also to use the another technologies and another tools, because one scanner and one vendor is not enough. We are using multiple actually, but not systematically, and not like on the large scale. So as you see, OpenVAS, Artemis, or for example, Trend Vision 1, or other agent-based solutions, which could be used only with the security monitoring, which is then used for cybersecurity threat intelligence, which I've seen previously in the MISP instances. And we use threat intelligence for the prioritization. Is used currently manually because we have like a lot of work to do, but it's not scalable. You have to automate the processes. That's like what we would like to include. And also to verify the leakage of the data, especially the passwords and other stuff, not only from one source, but from multiple sources. And that's all, folks. I would like just to summarize it. You could build proactive services from the scratch. You just need a support in the legislation, which is very tough part. You just need a tool and means to use the data and to use the data already evaluated. So proactivity starts with trust, automation, and clear legal ground. That is what you need to have. And by combining CTI, vulnerability assessment, and penetration testing, you could create a early warning system, and you could be compliant with NIS2 and much more. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do we have any questions?
You can ask anything.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I was wondering if, specifically for Afrodita, what was your strategy to maintain good quality of CTI information, and if you identified false positive, and what was your strategy to remediate that to improve the quality of data?
Yes, of course. We evaluated the data that we have, and each data that are in the MISB, in the Aphrodite service, they have to be processed by the analytics, and the analytical department has to manually check it, and then after the checking it, they can push it. So, for example, if you look at the topology that is here, there is also an NATO MISB and also threat intelligence service, I think recorded future, for example. But you cannot use this data if you do not validate it, if they are viable for a constituency. Yes, so it's basically manual. We do not have the mean to do it automatically. It's based on the experts that are here. And we also would like to use the framework that was mentioned there, but we are still just at the very early stages of building the services, AIL framework,
Anyone else? While I'm walking, some housekeeping. You can follow the talks that Kuba are recording. You can see him releasing them live on Mastodon. So if you don't have a Mastodon profile, I recommend you get one.
Hi. Thanks for the presentation. How often this scanning happens?
It's based on the monthly report, so on the monthly basis. We do it on demand when the client asks, and when there's a campaign, we do but that was at the very early stages. There was some kind of mistake when there was known exploited vulnerability. We just do, scan is with Nessus, and then you wait 2 days for the scanning of the whole constituency to happen, and then you see that you have nothing. Currently, it's more targeted, so we do not need to wait. We just say, and we check multiple sources. So it's based on monthly basis, except the clients that have security monitoring with us, because with Trend Vision 1, they have vulnerability assessment turned on. So, and then they have vulnerability management, so they see it 24/7. But for the Achilles system from the outside, it's on the monthly basis currently.
Okay, and this false positive which has been shown on the dashboard, so that is organizational based, or or it includes everyone?
Yeah, you have to manually mark that this is false positive, because it's based on what the client said to you. For example, that we said, there's vulnerability, and they say, no, that's a backported patch, so do not report it as vulnerability.
So that's organizational basis, or?
Pardon?
That false positive, that is organizational basis, or it's a whole list of false positives from across all the organizations? It's
on an organization basis. If you see here, so there's for false positive, I know it's kind of small, but you see that there's organization. There are some placeholders, Ministry of Magic and etc. But it's basically for the organization basis. Because, pardon?
No, thank you. I said,
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
I think there was a man. Yeah. Next from that side question.
Thank you for the presentation. I just make sure I understood properly. So I understand that Achilles is based for the vulnerability scanning on Nessus, is it?
Yes.
Okay. Did I understood that you're gonna have your own product? No?
Like the own product for vulnerability assessment.
Okay.
Yeah,
For
we have
assessment.
more resources, then
Okay.
it would be fine. But currently we use what is and what is very good. So we plan to also include, we have made some experimentation, but it's not like production ready with Artemis for web interfaces as with, and with OpenVAS. Yeah, but we do not develop our own
I
product.
just wanted to make sure. And the other question I have is, I understood that there are two parts. So basically, you do the vulnerability scanning on the public instances, network, whatever. And then from the private, there are customers for you, correct? Is that this?
Yeah.
And so these private, so that means they can do their own, using their own solution for the scanning without me having interaction with you, or they have to?
Yeah, they can use it, but we have the mandate, so they have to report it back to us.
Okay.
Yeah. But they can use their own solution, it's okay.
I would just add that we are trying to, let's say, market our services, and for our constituency, it's for free. Yeah, it's paid by state, so they have this like a open offer, and so it's up to them to whether they will, as Alex said, come to us and also have a contract and have let's say, I would say. We'll take everything from our offer, what's presented.
We do it very often, we very often go from the client to client and we have everything for free, take it. Yeah. And we are still doing it, it's not like every day somebody is asking us, so we are still capable of saying, we give, you take.
Was that
Great
it?
question.
I do see one more.
Hello, thanks for your talk. Just one question about the detection side of NIS2. Yeah. I see CTI, which is a bit of detection, but as you can see my jacket, I'm on the network detection side. So do you have something like that in place?
Yeah, pardon if you can ask it again, or yeah, repeat it.
Yeah, do you have some detection in place? I did not see a lot of detection in your talk. What are you using for the detection part of NIS2?
Yeah, for the detection of the threats?
Yes.
Yes, of course. We do it by manually, on the daily basis. We have the channels that are monitoring, but it's not scalable. Yeah, you do it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people, and it's not scalable. We would like to use also, we have a threat intelligent platform for recorded future, but it's one vendor and you would like to have at least 2. So we wanted to have another platform, but we need to wait, what will be. In the strategic investments, and then we would like to use also not just daily monitoring on the manual basis, but to use AIL framework to automate the process and to have it. And we are also making experiments, but it's totally at early stages with Open CTI platform. So we are basically looking at, we have the process, we do it here, and here manually, and we would like to automate it and to expand to be scalable.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Was that the last question? I think it was. Let's give them a hand.